You're listening to the Cyberwire Network, powered by N2K.
This episode is brought to you by Palo Alto Networks, the leader in cybersecurity. As AI-driven attacks increase, organizations can't afford to have network security that's stuck in the past. Discover how Palo Alto Networks can help you predict what's coming and proactively secure against it with a zero-trust, AI-powered network security platform built to secure whatever, whenever, wherever. To learn more, visit paloaltonetworks.com/network security platform. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CyberWire's Research Saturday. I'm Dave Bittner, and this is our weekly conversation with researchers and analysts tracking down the threats and vulnerabilities, solving some of the hard problems, and protecting ourselves in a rapidly evolving cyberspace. Thanks for joining us.
So our journey begins pretty much at late 2022. So back at the time, we were conducting a really thorough hunting project. We were looking into all sorts of web exploitation conducted by a myriad of threat actors, where we stumbled upon this really interesting anomalous behavior. And that kind of started this whole quest that we embarked on.
That's Assaf Dahan, Director of Threat Research at Palo Alto Networks. Also joining us is Daniel Frank, Principal Threat Researcher at Palo Alto. The research we're discussing today is titled Manic Menagerie 2.0, the evolution of a highly motivated threat actor. Let's go through it together here. Can you give us an overview of what exactly we're dealing with here?
So Manic Menagerie, first of all, it's a name of a cybercrime group that we've been following for over a year now. It's a really kind of an interesting story. It's a story of that involves cyber archaeology, evolution of a threat actor with some plot twists and a good comeback, because you have to have a good comeback. So, the research is really about the reemergence of this cybercrime group that came back from the dead, so to speak. It was discovered back in 2018, and then for 4 years, nobody heard anything about them. And all of a sudden, they launched this massive global campaign that targeted web hosting and IT companies, where they were able to compromise thousands of websites around the world that were hosted on these web hosting servers.
So the title of your research, which begins with Manic Menagerie 2.0, indicates that there was a original Manic Menagerie. What do we know about them?
Well, yeah. So the original research in 2018 was published by the Australian Cyber Security Center. And originally, this threat actor's motivation was solely to monetize. They were deploying cryptocurrency miners. What we saw in our research was, besides these cryptocurrency miners that we did witness as well, was this really interesting shift into, as Assaf mentioned before, into deploying tons of web shells into these legitimate websites hosted on these web hosting companies' servers.
Yeah, so to expand a little bit on that, when we first witnessed the activity at the end of 2022, initially we thought we were looking at yet another cryptocurrency mining campaign. But as time went by, we saw something that was pretty amazing. They, as we started blocking them, they responded very quickly and tried to bypass our mitigations again and again. It turned into this cat and mouse game of we were blocking them and they trying to find smart bypasses. Eventually, it seems like they gave up on the cryptocurrency scheme that they were trying to monetize. And it was then where we observed this attempt to backdoor a lot of legitimate websites in scale. So so that was pretty interesting to see. Like, first of all, it was like about the reemergence of a threat actor that has not been seen for almost 4 years, and then it was this very quick and adaptive shift in their techniques and tactics, which was particularly interesting to us.
And help us understand here, when we talk about that pivot, once they'd given up the crypto mining, what are they after in this second phase?
So it's really interesting. So what they did was they deployed web shells on the affected or legitimate websites that hosted on the web servers. And to us, it was, a real pickle, like we questioned ourselves, why are they doing what they're doing? And the theories that we came up with have to do with when you run a cybercrime operations, there are multiple ways which you can make money off, right? So one is, it could be ransomware, it could be info stealers, and another really popular way of making money today, if you're a cyber crook, is to sell access. So imagine that if you just got a hold of a web server that hosts thousands or even hundreds of websites that are all legitimate, you can potentially install a backdoor there, and it will grant you access to that, not only to the website's resource, but to the entire server, so to speak. So, and you can sell this access. You can you can use it to deploy other malware, so you can collaborate with other cyber gangs. So it's a really nice way for them to, or you can even build a botnet. So it's a really interesting way of monetizing access.
We'll be right back. Hey everybody, want to take a few minutes here and talk about our sponsor, Splunk. You need to keep operations humming around the clock, but potential disruptions are everywhere. Splunk helps you predict problems and find and fix issues fast, so you can reduce risk and ditch downtime. The world's largest enterprises rely on Splunk's unified security and observability platform to become more efficient, resilient, and innovative. With Splunk, you can react quickly, evolve faster, and be ready for anything. Stay ahead of disruptions. Learn more at splunk.com/resilience. Well, let's dig into some of the technical details here. I mean, what sorts of tactics, techniques, and procedures are these folks using?
First of all, in order to infiltrate these environments, what we saw was exploitation of various web-facing applications and IaaS servers. This is kind of the first technique that we've noticed. And afterwards, what they did was deploying a lot of publicly available tools with some custom tools. Now, I believe that this vast usage of the all sorts of publicly available tools, for local privilege escalation and for lateral movement, I think this is what gave them the original name Manic Menagerie, because I believe it's just like like the title implies, like this, I don't know, crazy circus or crazy amount of tools all over the place. They were blocked and tried another one. They blocked and tried another one. And they were kind of also, up to date with the latest releases of local privilege escalation tools. You could actually see the progress. As Assaf said, this, sort of a cat and mouse game. And besides these public tools, there was also the usage of several custom tools, which also really helped us in attributing this activity to the original Manic Menagerie research. And so one of these custom tools was responsible on writing this crazy amount of web shells. And this was the main tool of interest, like it sparked our curiosity in what is this custom tool and why does it write so many web shells? And I think this was like the main our main pivot point in actually understanding who this threat actor is, and starting from there, and then we discovered more and more tools. And to sum it up, just lots of public tools and some really unique custom tools as well.
It also shows, if I may, it also shows the amount of effort that they invested in this campaign, because it's one thing to use, off the shelf or as Daniel mentioned, public tools, but to write your own custom tools, it takes, effort, it takes developers, and it also implies premeditated intention. So it was not just like a fluke or like a random opportunistic a type of attack. It took some time for them to build this tool. As far as we know, they're the only group that uses this tool, which ultimately helped them to backdoor all of the legitimate websites. And this is where the impact, I think, is really noteworthy to mention, because it could be pretty much any websites that you can think of. It could be like the neighborhood yoga studio. It could be an insurance company, travel agency, e-commerce, like a small e-commerce business. So the fact that these attackers gained access to these resources can potentially mean data leakage, PII. We live in a world of a lot of regulations and regulatory fine, GDPR. So there could be really let's say, harsh, consequences for such attacks. Not even to mention like the legal liabilities, reputational damage that can incur. Because I think that the genius thing here about, for instance, selling access of a legitimate website is that a legitimate website enjoys a really good reputation. It's not going to be flagged by firewalls or antivirus software or other security solutions. So the attackers, if they want to sell them as access point or turn them into C2 servers for that matter, so they can really use this type of access to conduct nefarious or malicious activity under the guise of a legitimate website.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add a little something here. So in addition to what Assaf said, the thing of the point of this public access, I think it's really crucial to emphasize. Imagine that someone hacks your web hosting company. The web hosting company that Riverside.fm uses, and then you have Riverside.fm/webshell.aspx. Imagine that this secondary threat actor could just browse to Riverside.fm/webshell.asp and have access to your website's resources just from the public internet. They don't need any internal access to the web hosting company anymore, potentially. This resource, for to running commands or whatever, and it's just publicly available for them.
You mentioned how opportunistic they are. How do you rate their sophistication?
I think they're not like an APT, nation state APT level in terms of sophistication. As Daniel mentioned before, they use a lot of publicly available tools you can just download and compile from GitHub. So that on its own doesn't show a lot of sophistication. They did develop their own custom tool, which it's not the state of the art custom tool, but it's sophisticated enough. What can characterize this group better is their resilience and adaptiveness. We mentioned before that ongoing cat and mouse game that we've been playing with them for a couple of months, and you could see how important for them it was to maintain the access that they initially gained. Because every time we would block them, they would find or try to find a way to bypass those mitigations. So if I had to give them, to describe them with an adjective, it would not necessarily be sophisticated, more, but I would definitely say resilient or adaptive.
Interesting. So what are your recommendations then? I mean, in terms of folks best protecting themselves against this sort of thing?
Well, I think the first thing would be just to maintain a good IT hygiene, because, as we said, the thing that's started it all, and not only now but in 2018 as well, it's the same vulnerable servers and third-party software, which is obviously third-party software when unpatched poses a problem for a lot of organizations. So I think the first thing would do is to patch your software, keep it up to date, and kind of have this patching system as kind of your gatekeeper into at least trying to mitigate partially.
Yeah, so definitely, I would say it starts with a good IT hygiene, like Daniel mentioned. That the root cause, when we did like a root cause analysis of most of the intrusions that we attribute to this group, and by the way, a lot of other groups as well, has to do with poor IT hygiene. So it's really important. It sounds very obvious, right? But like keep your software up to date, keep deploy patches, and of course security in layers. That's another big thing. You need to have like multiple layers that will protect your data and resources. It could be on the network side of the house. It could be on the endpoint side of the house, and so on. Cloud. There are so many ways. So, but I think keeping a good IT hygiene and make sure that your data is well protected using a multi-layered approach is the right way to go. It will definitely reduce the attack surface. It's not going to be like a 100% bulletproof. What we've learned over the years that when you have a very motivated, well-funded or resourced threat actor, they'll eventually find a way. So what we can do as defenders or security practitioners is the only thing is we can do is to try to make their life harder by keeping our doors shut and then not opening windows that should not be opened. And the last thing maybe is to conduct a proactive type of hunting. If you're in an organization that has like a good IT or security department, I think it's a really good or best practice to conduct a periodic proactive threat hunting tasks in order to find those threats even before you get an alert. Because usually by the time you get an alert from a product, it's almost too late.
Our thanks to Assaf Dahan and Daniel Frank from Palo Alto Networks for joining us. The research is titled Manic Menagerie 2.0, the evolution of a highly motivated threat actor. We'll have a link in the show notes. Imagine a world where you're always one step ahead of cyber threats, where your defenses are impenetrable because you see what others don't. Welcome to Team Cymru's Threat Intelligence Solutions. With real-time access to the world's largest threat intelligence data ocean, they enable you to turn the tables on attackers. Transform your security from reactive to proactive through accelerated threat hunting and incident response, made possible through automation. Empower your team with visibility and insights to start defending your organization like never before. Team Cymru. Be the hunter, not the hunted. Learn more at team-cymru.com/cyberwire. That's team-cymru.com/cyberwire. The CyberWire Research Saturday podcast is a production of N2K Networks. N2K Strategic Workforce Intelligence optimizes the value of your biggest investment, your people. We make you smarter about your team while making your team smarter. Learn more at n2k.com. This episode was produced by Liz Stokes. Our mixer is Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producers are Jennifer Iben and Brandon Karpf. Our executive editor is Peter Kilby, and I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here next time.